Okay, these are critiques of the process speech for class 83N, and it's a good idea for you folks in 80 and 81N to pay attention to this because, as I keep saying, what I say to one student could be of aid to another student. All right, your speech was short in terms of time. Your timing for me starts when you actually start giving the speech, not while you're showing your audience or any of the other time. And it stops when you quit giving the speech. So if it takes you 20 seconds to turn off the camera, that is not going to come into play in what's going on. This person is Green, and I believe Green, you don't know who you are because you still haven't sent me a fantasy name. And so as a result, let me just say this was about hairdressing, and we'll leave it at that. You did not send two outlines. Remember, you must have a speaking outline and a preparation outline. You had one, but it wasn't labeled, so I'm not exactly sure what it was. You had no audience intro. I've gone over that multiple times. They must come one at a time, stand in front of the camera, say their name, and then literally a 5 count, 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005. That includes the time it takes them to say their name and then leave. All right, you had the wrong shot. All right, shoulder to shoulder. Remember this, that's what we want to see. And you didn't originally know who the speaker was. I didn't originally know who the speaker was because of the arrangement you had. There were a bunch of people there, and it was hard for me to figure out. The shot was so wide, I wasn't sure who the speaker was in that. Your subject left resulted in a silence that was on for far too long. What's your credibility in doing what it was you were doing? I can't see anything or have any idea of what you're doing. You have talent. You have great speaking ability. You need to adjust your speech to your audience and to the class requirements and conditions. I can't see the details of the visual aids that you were showing me. Your speech was too short. You did not have the proper audience there. There were only 5 people there. I can't tell because of the shot you had whether you had eye contact or not. That's just some of it. So you need to work on that to get that down to what it needs to be. Next up is Gem, G-E-M-M. And Gem, you spoke about breaking boards. Okay. You need to fill the frame with the shot. I understand you were trying to show stuff, but this, you were too wide, too long, and I'm not sure your audience, maybe the students in your class understand what you're talking about, and it may have passing interest, but for almost 5 minutes and 11 seconds, talking about breaking a board is not the height of what I want to hear in terms of a speech. So you need to work on that. There were a lot of things you said that I don't think you ever established that you're a teacher, that you have X ranking, all of this kind of stuff. That gives you credibility. You want to establish your credibility. You need to be more friendly. Now, I know that there's a macho thing about martial arts, but, be a little more friendly, and think in terms of why would I ever think I want to break a board? I actually have seen kids do that, and they had a ball doing it, and there's ways to make it fun and to make it challenging and all of the other things, but you need to come off more friendly. You come off as strident, military-like in a sense too. Smile, encourage me, those kinds of things. You have great knowledge of the topic. You have good presentation instincts. I need to see you out of your comfort zone. No more speeches relating to martial arts in any way, shape, or form, and quit wearing your martial arts uniform. Always establish your credibility. I've talked about that. Your outlines are not labeled, and also they're not in the proper format when you did that. The speech was a little bit close in terms of time, but overall you have more high marks. Think in terms of a conclusion. Don't just end the speech. First of all, you want to kind of summarize what we've been talking about in a speech, but also you want to make it vivid in some way, make it memorable. Why would I feel any more about that speech at the end than I felt in the middle, where I said, why would I ever want to do this? So you want to kind of think in terms of your audience and work it that way. Next up is McLovin. You spoke about hiking. Very, very well organized speech. You look like you enjoy talking about your topic, and that's really important. You need to work on more vocal variety so that you are up and down, and remember the 5 things: pitch, pace, tone, volume, silence. Work those in. Go for that vocal variety. You probably did not need to number your points. They do stand alone, so I don't need a bunch of numbers. Was this an original content, or did some of it come from sources? You didn't source anything, so I don't know. Fix the headroom on your shot. Make it straight in, not shooting up. Establish your credibility. You kind of did that. Make it a little more direct. And then you may want to come back and repeat it. That one year when we were hiking the Grand Canyon, this happened to us. 10 years later, when we were hiking the Appalachian Trail, we came across this. Tie in your credibility as you go and make it, part of what you're doing. It still looks like you're reading from a card or a script just off camera, and your eyes are moving back and forth on that. Work on your enthusiasm about what obviously you enjoy that. Try to convey that to me about what it is that I doing this would get out of it. How hard was it for you the first time? How did you get interested the first time? Was it exhausting? Was it hard? Those kinds of things, and remember that, and it'll help me too. Next was darts. You talked about changing a diaper. Think of your audience. I am way past that stage. Never have done it. Not really all that interested in learning how to do it. And therefore, you have an audience of people that either are before they even think about doing it, or they're past that time of doing it, and then we're into the people that are of the age and possibly they're already doing it. So now, best you're helping them get a tip or two that they may not be aware of. You're obviously talking about things that it would help if you sourced where you got some of that. There are marvelous sources for baby care. Use them. Don't represent yourself as Dr. Spock and the world's greatest expert on doing what it is you do. You can obviously put in that, here's some things I learned by doing it the wrong way. All right. And then how did you learn what you learned, et cetera, et cetera. This is somewhat of a narrow interest topic, but you tried to make it inclusive, and that's a plus. This was interesting topic, but not a compelling topic. Work on that. Why should I care if I'm not going to be doing it? And take it to the next level in your speaking. Watch the ahs, the ums, and the tisks. As you talk, make sure that you're not making that sound with your voice. At times, I can't hear what you are saying. Establish your credibility and keep it present. Next up is swordfish. And swordfish, you talked about the CDL exam. No more speeches about any method of transportation. This is your second one, and don't want any more. Are you using a speaking outline? I couldn't tell. Label each outline as to what it is. One is going to be the speaking outline. The other one's going to be the preparation outline. When you send them to me, they've got to be labeled so I know which is which. This was far too technical for a general audience. You need to get more light on your face. You have extreme loss of flow, lots of pauses, and indications you didn't know what was next. Again, why if you were using speaking outline, what I call speaker notes. It would help you on that. No, you said no leaks or nothing. There's a G on the end of the word nothing. Nothing. Watch the ahs and the ums. Nothing more on cars, trucks, transportation, etc. Never say, I believe, in a speech you wrote. What is your credibility? You have too much detail at times, and you don't have any sources for what it is you're saying. Okay, and your speech was way too long. Okay, that's generally it. Now, work on the things that I've been talking to you about. I need to see improvement each time. The fact that you're still here, the fact that you're turning in speeches, the fact that you show me that you paid attention to some of the things I've said are going to go a long way to helping you do well in this class. Okay? If you have any questions, as always, call me in the office, and I'll talk to you next time. Have a great weekend.